It's been 1 year of GST, and being in this profession, chart accountancy profession, I am asked about what is the impact of GST, whether the things are better off or worse off. And I guess the same questions are being asked to you also. So initially, I tried to dodge few questions, but going further, I understand that these are serious questions, and being in this profession, we need to answer this. So, welcome to Autos Perspective, guys. This is my another video on GST 1 year, where we are going to deal with what has been done in GST so far, and what are the mistakes of government, how government has rectified these mistakes, and what will be the fate of GST going further. So, before we understand the mistakes and rectifications, first we will try to understand why GST has came. The government has three principles of introducing GST. The first one is to abolish the cascading effect, and the second one is to give the seamless flow of credit, and the third thing is one nation, one tax. So these are three pillars, mainly three pillars of GST. So we will learn whether these three pillars are being addressed in this 1 year period or not. So firstly, I'll begin with the Bare Act section of Bare Act of CGST, where we have a section 7, which is the definition of supply. Earlier, pre-GST, we have sale of goods and supply provision of services. Now in GST, we have supply of goods and supply of services. So we will learn the definition of supply. I'm not going to tell you the whole definition. I'm just pointing out what is the mistake, or what is the effect, or what is the pinch in this section 7. So section 7 has three schedules. Schedule 3 deals with the negative list, the items which are out of the purview of GST. Section 2 is a clarificatory schedule which differentiates between what is supply of goods and what is supply of service. And first schedule is about deeming a supply as supply even when there is no consideration for such supply. So the lacuna in schedule 3 is actually the real estate. The sale of land and sale of immovable property has been made out of the purview of GST. So this thing is everybody knows this. There's no nothing like I should make a video on this, but we will learn that why this has not come under the GST. See, for the state governments, the major revenue generating item is the revenue from immovable property, that is the stamp duty value. And we know that in GST, the stamp duty has not been subsumed. So it is because the state do not want to slash their tax revenues by getting the real estate part in GST. If it would have come, the stamp duty revenue would have been lost for the states. So state haven't done this. But this might also be known to many of the people. But what is the impact of not bringing this real estate in GST? See, the government has very well propagated that we will ensure seamless flow of credit. But see, try to understand that when a real estate, suppose I am a builder, I have taken services and purchased materials, etc., and prepared a complex, that is a building complex. But when my service is not covering under the GST, how can I get the input tax credit on the services and inputs received? So the real estate builders are not getting the input tax credit, which is a blockage of seamless flow of credit. Okay, so what is the impact of this? The impact is the government has promised that the after inclusion of real estate in GST, the prices of housing will go down substantially, but that has not happened because this has been kept out of the GST. So this is the first issue. This is first not a mistake, but it is in there. The state has not agreed with the center to get the real estate into GST. So this is first thing. Second is there is a major clarification in GST regime about works contract. See, before GST, the works contract used to get levied under two acts, that is sale of goods, as a sale of goods under VAT, and as a service under service tax provisions. But in GST, the government has taken a good move, saying that works contract is a service and it will be taxed as service tax, as supply of service. So it is a good thing. But in here also there is a blockage of credit. How? See, suppose I am a works contractor. I have provided my works contract service to a particular person. Say that person is using that for service as input service, then only that person will get the input tax credit. Again, I am telling you that, see, I am a person, I am a works contractor. I am providing my works contract service to another person. That person will get the input tax credit only when he uses my service as input service. However, this is for immovable property. However, if the works contract service is provided for plant and machinery, the person who is receiving the works contract service will definitely get the input tax rate. But here we can see that again the seamless flow of credit has been taken a hit, because the credit is not given to the immovable property service, that is the works contract service to immovable property, except for when it is taken as an input service. So, and again we have seen in just 5 minutes we have found that two lacunas in the GST, which had taken the main principle, that is seamless flow of credit, has not been upheld. So again, going further, we under section 9 we see that the alcohol for human consumption is out, and the petrol and natural gases are out of GST purview. The reason is very simple and same, that is these are high revenue generating, and the states do not want to lose these revenues. So these are few lacunas, and in 1 year this has not been taken care, but we are sure that going in 2 years, the revenue neutralization will come on the states, and the states will accept the proposal of accepting this under GST. But government also made some mistakes. First mistake was in section 9.4. What section 9.4 is suppose I am a registered person. I purchase goods from unregistered person. Okay, so what 9.4 says, whenever I purchase goods from unregistered person, I need to pay the GST on reverse charge mechanism. That is, I need to invoice myself and pay GST on that and get input. That is a cumbersome process, and it is creating a compliance burden on the registered person. See, why this section has been included in GST is the government thought that while doing this, the registered person will urge the unregistered person to get registered and come under GST regime. But it has counter-productive result, where the unregistered dealers are not taking the registration, and the registered person not going to unregistered person for purchases. So which has led the unregistered person out of the game. They have lost the business. So that was the issue. So but the government, in just 4 months of implementation of GST, that is on October, the government has deferred this provision. That is, it has deferred, and now also in all GST council meetings, the government is deferring this provision. But we do not have any clarity by what time it will be deferred, or whether it will be there in GST law or not. See, remind you guys, there is a amendment in GST Act in this coming monsoon session. So I hope and we hope that these things will be addressed there, but we cannot know what as of now. So this is another point, that is section 9.4 mistake and the rectification that the government has made. Now another point is section 9.5, which was about e-commerce player. What the government has done by putting this section, the government has made all the e-commerce players to get them registered under GST, irrespective of the threshold turnover, which was otherwise available to other service providers. So this, by this, the government tried to ensure that all the e-commerce players come into GST regime and the tax base will increase. However, that has not happened, and the e-commerce players has applied, that is gave their recommendations to the government, and government has not very soon but has rectified this mistake and deferred that provision also, and stated in its 23rd council meeting, it has stated that the e-commerce players are also required to take registration only when the threshold limit of 10 lakhs will they will touch the threshold limit of 10 lakh. So again, in this 1 year, we see that the government had made a mistake, it has rectified. And there are other few things, that is the compliances of e-way bill, the simplification of returns, the practical issues of simplification of returns, and the advanced rulings, what are the judgments which are being dealt in this 1 year. And to tell you guys, there have been 100 cases in advanced ruling, and very surprisingly, all the cases are in the favor of revenue. And we will also understand the exports, the refund problems the exporters have faced, and the other things. All these things will be dealt in my next video. I hope you have liked this video, and I request you to just stay tuned with this channel, and I will be uploading the following videos. And I'm sure by the end of this series, the GST 1 year series, we will get to know what has all done in this 1 year, and whether it has a good impact or a worse impact. Thank you. Stay updated.